Hi, I'm Jennifer Brown, editor of Canadian Lawyer In-House Magazine, and I'm joined here today by Abdul Basit Khan and Priya Morley of Weir Folds LLP. In this version of the Weir Folds quiz, we're talking about workplace investigations. Employers often fail to conduct a thorough and legally sound investigation, which can cost the company time and money and leave it exposed to legal liability. ABK, this is becoming an increasingly sensitive area for employers. Can you give an example of a recent case that demonstrates the kind of risk in this area of the law?
You're absolutely right. It is becoming a very sensitive area with matters like Gian Gomeshi in the news and other such situations. But a recent case, 2014 actually, from the Court of Appeal, that dealt with this sort of situation was a matter known as Walmart and Boucher. Meredith Boucher was an assistant store manager in the Windsor area for Walmart, and she was subjected to an extended period of very abusive, terrible, horrific behavior on the part of the manager of that store, and she filed complaints and. Quite frankly, in that case, those complaints weren't effectively investigated. They weren't dealt with properly. The policies that the employer had in place weren't applied in an effective manner. And ultimately, what happened was that Walmart was liable for over $400,000 in damages, and over $100,000 of those damages were actually assessed against the individual store manager, and Walmart, being the employer, was vicariously liable for those damages. But that goes to show, how significant and serious this sort of situation can become.
So let's say two coworkers, Donna and Frank, enter into a consensual relationship for a few months. Donna ultimately ends the relationship. However, Frank continues to send her obscene and angry texts and phone calls. She goes to Human Resources, but doesn't want to file a formal complaint unless she can be guaranteed anonymity. Can Human Resources give her this kind of guarantee?
Confidentiality is a big concern in workplace investigations or situations involving harassment and other type of complaints of the sort that Donna is making in the example that you've described. But HR cannot promise anonymity, and it can promise confidentiality up to a certain point, because with any complaint, there is a duty on the part of the employer not to prejudge the complaint in either direction in favor of the employee, complainant, or the accused employee. And so what the employer can say is, we are going to try to keep things as confidential as possible, but the accused does have a right to know. They have a right to answer. And in order to properly address the allegations, they have to know what the allegations are and who's making them, so that, their right to respond can be properly exercised.
Okay, Priya, so let's say Donna goes to Human Resources and identifies Frank, but she still doesn't want to do a written complaint. Frank has been a director of the organization since its inception and has been a key player in senior management. What are the company's obligations in this situation?
Well, the best thing to do would be to meet with Donna and explain to her the import of a written complaint. A written complaint allows the company to have the allegations precisely described in writing, and allows Frank to have fairness in this case because he can respond to specific allegations. The fact that Frank is a director of the company is largely irrelevant in this case. The company has an obligation to ensure fairness to both of the parties, irrespective of his position, and not to prejudge the case, as ABK has just mentioned, and to address it with impartiality. So the best course of action would be to ensure everything has been done to obtain a written complaint. However, if a written complaint isn't possible, then it is possible to start the investigation. And in the initial meetings and interviews with Donna, a verbal complaint can be obtained.
Okay, thank you both. For more on workplace investigations, please see the September issue of Canadian Lawyer In-House Magazine.